All right, a very good morning to you. Thank you for sticking with us. We are back right here on Good Morning Kenya. Thank you for choosing KBC Channel 1, the best place to kickstart your morning. On this fine Wednesday, let's take a look at women at the forefront. My name is Ram Aguko, and when it comes to matters concerning women, let's say the truth here. Both men and women face obstacles equally. We all have obstacles that we face, both as both men and women. Regardless, women face specific gender-based hurdles and obstacles that are specific for them, and we need to find out how best can they tackle these obstacles that they face. How can they jump through these hurdles? What are the solutions that women have before them? Do we have the ability to have equitable shares when it comes to opportunities, funding, finances? Let's talk about women this fine Wednesday morning. And ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to introduce my guest joining me this morning right here. I am with Mary Muturi, the CEO of Jambo List. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, thank you.
How are you feeling?
This morning I'm feeling very good. I'm excited to be here this morning with you.
All right.
And just to discuss a little bit.
Yeah, and we shall also be joined by Serah Munyiri, who is the president of Jambo List through Zoom, that is joining us all the way from the United States of America. Serah, good morning. Or what time is it?
it's
from wherever you're watching us, from which part of the United States. How are you feeling? All right, I haven't heard her, but I believe we will get her sound in a bit. But thank you so much for Serah for joining us. You let us know from which state you are joining us from. Now, let me start with you, Mary.
Thank you. I'm joining you from New Jersey. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. You're saying you're joining us from which state exactly?
From New Jersey.
Wow. Thank you so much for finding time to join me today. And first things first, let's talk about women and the place where we are at. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at Jambo List and what it does, and it's interesting that you're trying to, empower women out there. What do you think about the state of women when it comes to opportunities that are there within their disposal? When I started, I said that both men and women face challenges, mm-hmm. but women have particular ones that are gender-based for them. What do you think about that?
Yes, as I said, my name is Mary Muturi of Jambo List. Mm-hmm. And it's, I believe, one of those companies in the U.S. which are all women. We are 3 ladies, mm-hmm. and we started because of the challenges that small businesses were facing in reaching one another. But, women have got a disadvantage when they are getting into a field. Sometimes people don't believe that they can manage or they can do. And especially like us 3 women in the U.S., I am retired, but my other 2 partners are working. And of course, it's like, how can you juggle 2 things at the same time? But women have got power inside. They have got this thing inside them that pushes them to see solutions happen. So even if though there are challenges of even going to get finances or just approaching doors, it's different in the U.S. than it is in Kenya. In the U.S., at least, we have got rules and regulations which guarantee that if you apply, they're not going to be looking at the gender, or they're not going to be looking that it's a woman organization. Mm-hmm. It will be registered. You'll go out and be able to do what you need to do. I'm just learning the ropes in Kenya, having been in the U.S. for over 30 years.
30 good years?
Yes.
Wow. Continuously, without any break?
Continuously, actually more than 30 years out of this country. I left this country in 1985. So I've been out of this country, and now I find myself in this country. But God has been with Jambo List. We are really getting through a lot of places that we could not have thought that would get.
Wow, I love what you've said, and you're mentioning a very important point. The challenges women face in Kenya is not the same as those that women face in the United States. Yes. And Serah, let me come to you. Do you agree? Is that true, that challenges women face in the U.S. are different from the ones women face in Kenya? And what exactly are we looking into here?
Well, the challenges may be different, but they are actually from the same category. Most of the challenges that women face are usually either social, educational, economic, political, or psychological. Now, in the U.S., these particular categories, women usually face challenges, and the way of dealing with them may be different, but the challenges are always there wherever we are.
All right, and let me first of all start with, of course, different examples shall be highlighted as we proceed with this conversation. But still, on you, Serah, yes, you said that you've given different examples, social, political challenges that women face. Let me start by talking about funding. Of course, according to some research, women startups get a lot less investor funding than men. And the early stages of investment in businesses for women who are actually female executives has increased from 5% to 50% since 1999. What's your take in regards to investment in women, and how can we improve in that?
You are right that women face more challenges when it comes to the economic and that extension of funding to run their business. And that is pretty much similar to the challenges that they face when they're looking for equal pay or looking for certain jobs, because certain industries they may not want to employ women. But some of those challenges we can mitigate them by just keep pushing. That's what women do. You cannot give up. So you do have to face the challenge and believe in yourself. Just know that you have the strength. Other people may not perceive what you have as what you believe, but you have to believe in yourself and keep pushing. And with Jabo, that's what we believe, and that's what we do. We definitely have faced a lot of challenges, but we know that we will overcome them. And we know many other women that we support here in the diaspora that face challenges, and we share with them. They face challenges, trying to go to institution to get funding, and they face challenges because, like you said, they are not believed. They don't think that the businesses will survive.
Mm-hmm. And is it possible for us to increase funding, especially for women in startups?
It is possible because nowadays more and more we are seeing a lot of startups, getting to be large, businesses, and some of those startups are, started by women. So I don't think we should, discriminate based on the gender. I think other categories should be used to determine whether funding should be extended or not. There are many businesses that are nowadays, even in Kenya and other parts of the world, that are led by women. And those businesses are ending up, some of them becoming, multi-millionaire businesses and growing to employ many other in our country and in our local areas where women live.
Very interesting sentiments by Serah there, Mary. Do you agree with what she's saying? And I'm looking at the aspect of investing in women, and I'm seeing what she's saying to be true. That many businesses today, we have seen them run and started by women, and they're doing very well. Give your thoughts in regards to that. Also, startups that women have.
Yes, giving a contrast between the US and here, and I think it's almost the same thing, because like black women and being black in America, there are always the challenges of discrimination. Although, of course, they have got many grants that they try to give to the minority, to the women as minority, to be able to start these businesses. But sometimes you find even then, you are not able to access those funds. And even here in Kenya, you remember that they started the 30% for women during the last regime.
Exactly, yeah.
But how many women really benefited? We as diaspora people, when we actually even registered a company so that we can be able to take, advantage of the 30%. But we have never really even done anything with a company that we started, because it's so difficult to get inroads, even to be able to access those funds. And I had somebody mention and figure, it's like, oh, it was 30% for women, but all the businesses were taken by men. So they registered the companies and the women's name, but they ran the show. So we still have got a long way to go, because, we are overtaken, because I think they believe, let me start a company for my wife, but I'm the one who is going to run it.
And so isn't that an error from the women's side? I'm looking at it from that particular angle. No. Who should be in charge of that?
No, I don't think it's an error from the women's side, because we tried to apply even for the jobs. But, and that is the other thing that we have to think about, the diaspora in Kenya. How are the diasporians are going to be able to tap what even the government is putting out for the women?
But you're looking at startups where women are the ones that have been registered to have them, yet it is the men that are running these particular startups.
Well, unfortunately, I think it's the men who register the women and just use women's names to run the business.
Or without their knowledge.
There might be knowledge, but they will just be put aside. That, so I think, and also, banks and institutions tend to think that because women, we are always, and especially if you are married, you always try to attach yourself to your spouse. They are always like, we consider our spouses. And therefore, these businesses, I think they think, okay, you have to have the support of a man to be able to succeed. And that is something that we really have to get away from, where that as spouses have to be always considered with our spouse. And in fact, I always say, even from the ID, I have been in the diaspora for this time. I have wanted to change my identity card. My husband was here, but I couldn't, because that I have to go with my husband to change my identity card.
We are going to come into that particular angle, because that is also something that I plan to touch on. But let me take us a few steps back. Are women taking advantage of funding that has been given to them? Do you feel like we are maximizing on that potential?
I cannot say very much about that, because I've just been in this country not more than a year since I came back from the US. So, but I'm yet to, to knock on doors to see whether they are going to open those doors for me.
What about women in the diaspora?
Women in the diaspora, it depends on your credit. If you have got a good credit, they will be able to consider a loan for you. they'll be able to look at it. And also for startups, they'll look at what is this organization going to do. You'll give your proposal, and if they see the proposal is justifiable, they'll give you the funds. So it's you have to present your case to be believable for you to have the money.
Serah, what do you think about that particular sentiment? Are women taking advantage of funding that has been given to them? And do you agree that at some point women could be letting go of the rope?
One of the challenge that women face, or I would say even in particular the women of color, it's lack of information and lack of know-how. Because some of the funding that is available, women don't even know it's there. Women have may not have the expertise or the knowledge to go about applying for such funding. But where they know, women are taking advantage of that and they apply for the loans or the funds. Do they get the funding? That's another question, It's relative. But where they know that the funding is, women do apply for those kind of.
All right. And I'm looking at sensitization. How far are we? What are the steps you've taken to sensitize women to be aware of the opportunities that are available for them? Mary.
Let me say again, I've lived in
the US,
in the US more than I have lived here. And I think, as Serah says, it's just the lack of knowledge, and also the women in the diaspora tend to have just, thinking of working to raise up children and all that. Of course, there are few women now who are now starting businesses because we have got more professional women who have been in the country for a long time. So you find that now we have got forums where we are able to advertise these businesses, what people can do. And you find that, we have got business women in the diaspora, and we are now advertising, we are now making people aware, and that is where Jambolis actually comes in, because Jambolis has said we have got a directory. Please register yourself in this directory so that you are known and so that people can be able to patronize your business. And also we through social media, we advertise all these women who are working in the diaspora, and we have also started advertising also those who are working in Kenya, so that more people can be able to know what are the businesses that we can get into. I know, and I have spoken to a few people. I was at the Inoro station, and through that, a lot of people are calling me. Among them are women, and they would want to know what is it that we can be able to do. We have got this organization, we have got this amount of money, but we need somebody who can come and speak to us and give us direction. So I believe Jambolis is also filling in a hole that, because now when we come to the media, we are more open. And we are out there to be able to give a solution. I spoke to another lady from Kilifi also, and who shared what they are doing, and they would want me to go and talk to them and see what are the markets which are possible, what can we be able to do. And so I believe that through Jambolis we shall be able to reach women who are there stuck and who don't know, and who have also been taken advantage of by middlemen.
Wow.
So they can go to digitalization instead of selling their things the ordinary way. We can show them, you can actually have these things on website and start selling them, and they will sell. So give them alternative ways of earning their money, not through the middle people.
And through that, you've cut off the link, and you've managed to even reduce on the expenses accrued in the process.
And they are able to get more money and be able to be paid for their work. You can imagine the things that they do, these women, take a long of time. Take somebody who is doing just a necklace or a bag. It takes time. But the middleman wants to take it all. Instead of saying, these are women. And and these women, when you empower these women through their businesses, they'll be able to grow their children. You believe, you are going to agree with me that when a woman gets money, they think more of their children, their education, than even a man does. A man will get the money and possibly will just go and have fun, start drinking and forget that, I have got children.
Possibly.
Some of them, not all. But women, you empower women, even from the grassroots level. They are going to be able to grow their families, because you start all these things empowering the women from when they are young.
And I'm going to come to the aspect of family in a bit. Let me come to you, Serah. I'm looking at the exposure that you're giving women. Of course, let me give you just a minute to just mention that particular aspect of exposure. Jambolis is giving women that, yes. Now, when you look at you've been on the ground. You've managed to speak with different women on different times. Within the season that you've managed to talk and interact with women, do you feel like there needs to be more exposure given and laid out to these to women out there to be aware about the alternative solutions that are there for their challenges?
Yeah, there's always room for improvement in the area. And speaking in the diaspora, we know that there's that gap that maybe some courses, maybe some semi-conferences are available, but people may not be aware of them. But with police, what we are trying to do, where we are coming to fill in, it's the exposure that we can be able to really actually bring forth what is being sold or the service that is being offered by women, by people of African descent here, and make sure that it goes to the world stage. We do that by really making sure that we encourage them to websites and businesses, and we advertise our Jambolist site. That way, by default, even where the website itself to register, and to be added into the directory is free. You get, by default, you get the exposure. You get to be advertised by default, because we advertise in Jambolist. And speaking to women, beside the need for the funding, there is also need for education on how to run their business. How do you run your expenses? How do you do your forecast? And in the coming month, we are looking at how we can be able to connect different people or different businesses with different skill sets, so that those businesses can be able to support each other. And we think that will help. However, we'll continue to look for other resources from the American government, from Kenyan government, to be able to support our customers and make sure that they keep increasing in knowledge to be able to run their businesses and, increase their revenues.
All right, thank you. Let's talk about that. She's mentioned a very important aspect, educating women in business. Yes, you've managed to, stay within the United States of America for over 3 decades. Do you feel like more needs to be done to educate women in business? And how far do you feel like we need to move in order for us to achieve this particular target?
In the U.S., there is an effort to educate women, but I think the women should themselves also feel the need to be educated.
They should feel it.
They're themselves.
That personal initiative.
Yes, that personal initiative, where if you bring somebody in with business, how to educate, how to do your budget, how to make sure that although you are working, you have to know that you'll have a retirement at the end of your time, and you have got children who are, so you have got very many actually people among our own self who are now financiers and who are there and have been trying, and we have held seminars to educate women on how to do their budgets, on how, if they want to enter into a business, what they should be thinking about, and even for their children, how are you going to be able to save for education for your children? So we have actually financials, we have people in finance among our Kenyan community who have been very vocal about teaching the women how to manage finances so that they can be able to leverage whatever comes on their way. And we tell them, businesses and opportunities come without notice. So you have to be ready to be able to take the opportunities that come along your way.
But the problem that you've highlighted there is sometimes women don't take a personal initiative.
They don't take the personal initiative, or they think it's a waste of time, or they feel I don't have enough money to be able to budget or to go into these deep financial lessons.
All right, and we are going to talk about that after this break. What is the problem? Because I have seen some women see opportunities there, but they drop them. And you wonder why. Personal initiative, as you've said, is very, very important. And after this break, we shall talk about family commitments. Many women make difficult decisions, and they choose to leave some of these lucrative opportunities because of family. Is that a letdown for them? All right, let's talk about that. Let's take that break. We'll be back with more right here on Good Morning Kenya. Keep it KBC. All right, welcome back. We're still proceeding with this conversation. It is women at the forefront right here on KBC. This is Good Morning Kenya, if you've just joined us. And my name is Ram Aguko. And we proceed with this conversation. I am with Mary Muturi, who is joining me here in studio, the CEO of Jambolist. And via Zoom, joining us all the way from New Jersey, is Serah Munyiri, the president of Jambolist. Thank you so much, ladies, for being part of this conversation. I love how the conversation is flowing. Let's wrap it up on the initiative part. Self-initiations, self-motivation, that self-drive, push. And on this, I want to bring in Serah. Serah, what do you think about the aspect of self-drive for women? Is it that we lack the female mentors for women who can be able to push them to their limits? Or is it just a personal problem where a lady just has a problem in terms of motivating themselves to achieve or to jump through a particular hurdle?
I think self-motivation particularly depend on individuals, and it depends on how much you want it. If you really want it, you will work hard and you will get it. if you feel that you don't want to get it or you don't want it as much, maybe you won't. But I think beside just wanting it, there's a lot of factors that affect women when it comes to businesses, when it comes to even work. And some of them are just, like in Kenya, it's just the traditional ideas about the roles of girls or roles of women that restrict women from engaging themselves into business and actually being able to put in enough hours to be able to succeed in it. So there's many factors that affect women when it comes to, the drive. Some of them, it's also lack of mentors, lack of other successful women that you can maybe relate to, and maybe not being able to relate well with men when it comes to mentorship. So there are several factors that definitely affect the drive. But I must say that I'm very, very proud of many women this day and age. When I come, I visit Kenya or even here in the abroad, I'm seeing a lot more women getting into business and actually succeeding in it. So I think slowly things are changing. Women are taking possession in building the economy and growing their own businesses.
Wow, I love that point. Mary, do you feel like we have enough women role models?
I think we have. And of course, sometimes we only think about women role models because they are up there. But just take our parents, for example. Okay. They are good role models. When I was growing up, my mother has always been a businesswoman. And she's my role model because I've seen how hard she has worked. And she's comfortable now because of the hard work that she put in. And I can tell of several women who worked hard. It was not like in manufacturing, it was not, but in simple things. They sold things in wholesale at Nyamakema. And they had shops which they were wholesale shops like my mother had. And then she went to construction and then, so there are enough role models if you're not only looking at one particular area. Because sometimes
the high class, or some certain level of
or some certain level women, because then you might never reach there.
Okay.
But if you just start from the basic and see somebody who is waking up in the morning, going to hustle, doing something, and not just staying in the house, that's still a role model of a child to know that my mother has been hustling to educate me, has been doing. So it is just letting children and letting everybody know that surely it's not just those people in the high echelon that are role models. We are all role models if we are doing what we need to do and educate those who are younger of hard work, because hard work is what builds you. It's not just by looking at people who are succeeding. It's by doing it.
I love what you're saying. I'm a spiritual man. I believe in the word of God. And there's a part of the Bible that says, let the old women teach the young women.
Yes.
That's what the Bible says. Some people are shocked to hear that. There's a verse in the Bible that says that, let the old women teach the young women. So how can our young ladies, take advantage of our, more mature, experienced and exposed women? There could be this perception from the younger ones, and that creates a divide that, it was their time. Maybe they had the capital, or they had the influence, or they had the exposure. But as for me, I do not have that particular exposure. Your thoughts on that?
I think nowadays children are too comfortable.
Say that again.
The children are very comfortable. They do not have the same view of things as used to be, as used to have. Because for us, when we were growing up, I remember, I would look forward to when I'm going to finish my school. We had kind of a plan. It's like I'm going, with girls in school. We would talk how I'm going to finish school by this time. And by this time, I'm going to get married after I have gotten my first job and all that.
And then life hits you.
And, yes. But, you find we're more focused than it is. Then, we were given more responsibilities at home than now, when most of the homes, they have got nannies, they have got people working for them. So they're very, go to many homes, the children don't even know how to cook because they're not exposed. They don't do their own laundry. So the things that we grew knowing that these are the basic things that we need to do are no longer there. And then, of course, we have got younger mothers. And the younger mothers, the empowerment that they're giving their children, we have got TikTok coming up, and you find now is like a child and a mother are doing TikTok, they are dancing, the mentorship. So we have to reevaluate what are we teaching our children, even as mothers, and where do we start them? And I think we have a lot that we can do, and even those women who are advanced can be able to do. We can go to school girls and start from there, mentoring them from high school, from primary school.
Yeah.
When we were growing, we knew all our ministers. We knew who is who. As a child.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah. We had civics education. And we kind of like, I think, were patriotic in a way that, but although we didn't know, because, of course, now the population is bigger, we had...
But the knowledge is there.
The knowledge is there. And we only had... VOK, Voice of Kenya, black and white.
Yours truly.
Yours truly. Now it's how do we mentor, are we able to get out of all this noise and be able to mentor our children, especially the girl, and tell them that they are able and it is possible for them to be the next president, for them to be a governor, for them to get into business and be and also philanthropy, people giving back to the society.
I remember there was a time in the country where we had the very first time in history where we had a woman vying for presidency.
Yes.
Man. All right.
We'll get there.
We will get there.
And we are there, actually.
And we've had women vying for presidency. And I'm looking forward to a time where Kenyans can be able to see that as a positive move.
I'm sure, because we have had, we have had other presidents in other countries, and they have been very successful.
All right. I want us to move to yet another aspect of this conversation. Family. You mentioned this earlier, and I wanted to touch on it in a very deep way. Let me start from the perspective of investments. You mentioned it, that women sometimes start businesses. They can start a particular investment, and in the process, their husband picks it up. Sometimes it gets picked up to the point that the woman has no control over that particular business. How can women rise up, take control over their own initiatives and startups, and still maintain their own their own marriage? Because a woman watching us today is saying, you know what, I cannot do it because I'm afraid I might I might lose my husband, or we might have a problem. Is there a wise way, from as a woman, that you can advise your younger ladies watching us, that they can be able to manage that and ensure growth?
I think family dynamics are very different.
Very different, yes.
But there's one thing you see, you're a man of God. Humility.
Did you just call me man of God? Hallelujah. Somebody say amen.
You believe you are Christian.
Yes, I am.
So,
yes.
Humility is very important in everything. And if you're humble,
Yeah.
And you're not trying to compete among yourselves. And also, as a family, know your role. Respect it, and even man to respect their roles, and know that they are there to complement one another.
Yeah.
They will be able to work together. Leave arrogance and pride, and nobody wants to go ahead of the other.
That I am more empowered. I know more than you.
No.
Challenging the man.
No, you don't have to challenge the man. You might even be the most educated one, but humble yourself. You must be the one who is bringing more money in the house. Humble yourself and know that you can, even with that money, without your husband, you also can't do much. Because as long as there's no agreement in something, it cannot grow.
Yeah.
As long as there's no unity, even the Bible says very well that without unity, nothing can be able to be built. But where there's unity, God commands a blessing.
Yeah.
So I think I would really advise the young ladies, young couples, to sit down and communicate and try to talk together. What is it that we want to do, regardless of who has got the money? Of course, as I said, families are different.
All right.
But be humble and try to understand and listen to the other partner. And I would believe also that for the men, they should also believe with what their spouses are doing. And as spouses,
important,
keep everything in your home. Don't go out there and shout it out, because there are others who don't usually mean well for you, and therefore the advice that they're going to give you is not necessarily that which will build your marriage.
It will destroy your marriage.
It will destroy your marriage.
And let me get to Serah. Serah, I believe you're following the conversation from New Jersey. You give in your thoughts on this. We have societal expectations, we have family dynamics. How can women grow regardless of these two variables?
Women can grow, and nowadays and ever, we need to empower women to feel important, to feel that they matter, and we also have to almost always have to fight for a seat on the table. And nowadays we're saying if there's no seat for the women, we have to get our own table and have a seat on our own table. So I think more and more women are more empowered nowadays because they are educated, they're exposed, and they're bringing wealth to the family. But I think for a family to stand, it's a matter of both man and woman to have a stable marriage or a stable relationship and build the wealth together. Like Mary said, it doesn't have to be my money or your money. Whether I buy a land and sell it, it's our money as a family. And as long as there is respect for women, women will not feel challenged, and men shouldn't feel challenged, because when you bring the money home, it's for the family, it's not mine.
Now, still on you, Serah, you've mentioned the aspect of challenge. How can we fight this perception that when a woman rises, then she is challenging men?
Well, it is a matter of understanding that women may be strong, but even if they are strong, how you perceive that strong feel, it's what makes the difference. So women can be strong, but how you perceive it, how you perceive that strength, that's what matters.
I love that. I love that. Let me come to you on the same. We've always had this conversation of on you, Mary, that boy child versus the girl child. It should not even be the boys versus the girls, or the girl child versus the boy child. Let each one rise on their own. Let each one achieve on their own. Let everybody get equitable resources on their own. How can we fight this mindset that when a woman is rising, then the man feels threatened by her power, status, possession, wealth, knowledge, or influence?
I think the community as a whole should take the responsibility. And when I say the community as a whole, I mean wherever there is leadership, these are the things that should be instilled in the children. You know, this, if it is the teachers in kindergarten, they should know. So that means that the people whom we are educating in the university to be teachers of the kindergarten, wherever they are, or the leaders, should be focused in educating that, letting the children, because when the children are together and you are teaching them that you can do this, and you tell them all equally, there is no one who is lesser than the other one, and a boy and a girl, you have got the same capability. If a boy can be a pilot, even a girl can be a pilot. If a boy can be an engineer, you can be an engineer, and there's nothing that is difficult. So the community has to sensitize the children, and I'm saying the children because that's why you start harnessing this belief in the kids.
All right. And let me come to you, Serah. Final question. Maybe I want to give you time to have a final word, a parting shot, as we bring this conversation to a close. Your call to action to women watching us today internationally.
You know, if you're a woman out there, my call to action would be, what are you doing to empower others? What are you doing to empower the younger generation that is coming after you? There are many things that we can do to install, to empower the younger generation, help them. You know, the first one is how you carry yourself. How do you feel you yourself as the mother, or as an adult, or as a leader? Are you embracing yourself and your capabilities? Are you standing up and just standing up for what is right and what is important for the society? What is important? How are you dressing? You yourself, how you carry yourself matters. So for any woman that is watching me out there, let's continue to empower the generation that is younger than us, the people who are looking up to us. Let's talk to them and, you know, encourage them, teach them, share the knowledge, just like the Bible says. Respect their choices. You know, if they are younger kids, you know, and they come to you and they're asking for advice, listen to what they have to say first, even before you start giving your opinion. So that's what I would encourage.
Thank you so much.
I just wanted to also mention that with Jambolees, we are very happy to support the younger women who have business, or the women and all. And we are offering that free advertisement for any business that, you know, that is owned by women.
All right. Thank you so much. That is Serah Munyiri, all the way from New Jersey. I appreciate your presence. Thank you so much for sticking with us. And Mary.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate your presence and the input you're doing.
Thank you.
That is Mary Muturi, the CEO of Jambolees. And it is on that note that we bring into conclusion our conversation of the day. This has been Women at the Forefront. Kudos to all the women who are making strides out there. My name is Ram Aguko. Keep it KBC for more of our programming. Remember, we are going live to Parliament in a bit. This is Good Morning Kenya. May God bless you. May God bless the work of your hands.